Hey guys, MJX Fun here with part 2 of the how to build, explanation of Commander, not how to build, sorry. So, we're gonna go over land bases now. So depending on what kind of deck you're making, if you're playing more than, one color, you're gonna want, Command Tower and Reflecting Pool in your deck. Reflecting Pool is a little on the expensive side, I think it's like $10, but it's worth it. Add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type of land that you control can produce. And Command Tower has to be in every. Well, it doesn't have to be, but it's really good if it's in every deck that has more than one color. Also, you can put like City of Brass or things like that. I mean, there's nothing really bad about any of them. Then you have shocks. Sorry about that, my headphones got caught. Then you have shocklands. So, what these do is you pair these with fetches or creatures that let you search for a forest card, an island card, or something like that. And fetches let you search for a forest or plains, island, mountain, swamp. I mean, you can search these out, but the reason they're called shock lands is because what shock does is it deals 2 damage to you, and when these lands say when let's use Temple Garden for example, when Temple Garden comes into play, you may pay 2 life. If you do, it comes into play untapped. If you don't, it comes into play tapped. Sorry. So those are one of the types of duels you can have. Another type that are new to the Return to Ravnica block is the Guild Gates. They're a little slow because they come into play tap, but you can add 1 mana of either a red or a blue or any color combination to your mana pool. Other kinds of dual lands are the man lands that they tap for 2 colors, or you can pay a certain amount and they'll become a creature with a certain ability until end of turn. Siestal Colonnade becomes a 4/4 white and blue elemental with flying and vigilance, but it's still a land, so somebody can destroy it as a creature or destroy it as a land. Another type is Dark Slick Shores, the Scars of Mirrodin duels. They enter the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. 2 or fewer other lands, sorry. So, you get these in your opening hand. Excuse me. You get these in your opening hand, and it's just a dual land. That really doesn't have any drawback unless you get it later on in the game. Now, these are more budget-friendly dual lands, with the exception of the ones from Innistrad. But what these do is they tap. Say, let's go with Drowned Catacombs. It taps for a blue or a black, and it comes into play untapped if you control a swamp or an island. So, turn 1 you play an island. Turn 2 you play this. You can add a black and a blue to your mana pool, or 2 blue, or yeah. And there's like Rootbound Crag that does the same thing, except for oh god, I'm tired. Sorry. Mountain and Forest. And then there's Hinterland Harbor that does green and blue. Now there's 5. If you notice, that one's from Innistrad. There's 5 Innistrad ones. And that one's from M13. There's 5 core set ones too. So that makes it pretty good. Now, now we have artifact lands. So these are artifact lands. You can tutor them up with Trinket Mage. If you need a mana fix, you can tutor them up with Tezzeret for 0 if you need a mana fix. They're really good. It's pretty much just a non-basic land of said color. It doesn't come into play tapped, and you can tutor it out with search your library for an artifact card and put it into your hand or put it into play or something like that. And it's really good. Dear Lord, I'm sorry. We have these kind of lands. They're the filter lands from Eventide, Shadowmoor, and whatnot. So this one adds green and blue. So you can either tap it for a colorless, or you can pay a green or a blue to add either a green-green, a green-blue, or a blue-blue to your mana pool. So these lands are a little more Some of these are a little more expensive, but they're pretty good. And then we have pain lands, where they tap for a colorless without having any effect, or you tap them to add the colors that they produce, and they deal 1 damage to you. So they're really not bad. I also have Sheevan Reef, but I don't know, because you start off with 40 life in Commander, and it's really not that big a deal. Then we have these kind of lands. They're the Ravnica block, 2-colored lands. What they do is they come into play tapped, and when they come into play, you return a land you control to its owner's hand. And you tap and add a blue and a red to your mana pool, or a green and a black, or a green and a white, depending on which one you have. Now we have the cycle lands. Pretty much what these do is they cycle. They come into play tapped, and you tap to add a white to your mana pool, or you can cycle it, discard, which you pay a white, discard it, and draw a card. Now, I wouldn't recommend playing these ever if you can help it. If you can't help it, then you can't help it. But if you can, try your hardest not to play these, just because it's draw a card for 1. It's really, really good. Now just other random lands here. Urborg. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. So, makes it really good in a 2-color deck that has black. So you can use more black than blue. But you can even out the land base so you don't get color screwed. And Area of the Sky Ruin. There's also Valcut, and I think that's it, actually. I think it's just this one, Valakut, and but anyways, it enters play tapped. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 7 or more planes, you may return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it taps to add a white. So these lands, what Valakut does is if you control 5 or more mountains, and whenever you play a mountain, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Now just like EDH staple lands. And then we'll go over a couple more after. Alright, so we have Vesuva. What Vesuva does pretty much is it enters the battlefield tapped as a copy of target land. So if it's a legendary land, you can blow it up. Ancient Tomb. Some of these are a little expensive, but they're not too bad. Ancient Tomb adds 2 colorless to your mana pool, and it deals 2 damage to you. So it's really not too bad. Because in Commander you have 40 life, so that's 2 life every time you tap it. You can tap it 10 times, and you'll only be at half life. But you won't use it all the time anyway. You'll only use it for the first few turns. Mystifying Maze. It taps to add a colorless, or you can pay for exile target attacking creature an opponent controls. At the beginning of the next step, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So it pretty much just prevents the blockers from hitting. Prevents attackers from hitting you. Sorry. Maze of Ith is really good, but it's like $40. Reliquary Tower. You have no maximum hand size, and you can tap to add a colorless to your mana pool. It's really good in mono blue or mono black, just because there's lots of cards to draw cards. Temple of the False Gods, really, really good in the right deck. It's the more colors you have, the less effective it is pretty much how it works. Add 2 colorless to your mana pool. Play this ability only if you control 5 or more lands. So turn 5, you play Temple of the False God, and you have 6 lands. Yeah. Strip Mine. This is probably one of the major cards in Commander. There's combos with this. I don't like them. I don't use them. But you tap to add a colorless to your mana pool, or you can sacrifice it to destroy a land. So I mean, it's just land control. You would play the Urza's lands in like Kemba EDH or something. If you have all 3 of them out, you get to add 7 mana total to your mana pool. And 2 honorable mentions are Eye of Ugin, search your library for a colorless creature, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. and Buseiju makes it so they can't counter your stuff. So, that is the second out of 5 videos for my how to, what is Commander? I don't know why I keep saying how to. What exactly is Commander? I'm just going to explain every part. Like, next will probably be, spells to go with your general, or creatures to go with your general, I'm not sure. Or how, actually, it'll be, balancing out your lands. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.